in this episode, we step into a different kind of power, the quiet kind, with Toby Maguire.
We're brought up to be socially conditioned that when you've got this thing, you'll be happy. When you've got that thing, you'll be happy. Usually things like when you've got a good job, you've got a good salary, you've got the family, you've got the nice car, you've got the nice house, you've got the nice savings. But then a lot of people get there usually around their mid-40s and they suddenly realize, hold on, well, I've got everything that I was promised, but I'm still not happy. There's something inside of me that's just not feeling fulfilled. If I woke up tomorrow morning and everything in my life was perfect, what would that be like?
If you've been feeling out of sync, disconnected from your goals, or just overwhelmed by your own ambition, today's episode is your invitation to pause, breathe, and reset. Welcome back to Reimagining You, the show where we decode personal branding as a leadership tool, not a vanity project. I'm Dr. Elie Daher, your host, and in this episode, we step into a different kind of power, the quiet kind, with Toby Maguire. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, Toby. You're in Thailand, right?
Yeah, so good evening over here. Good afternoon, Dr. Ellie. Thanks for inviting me on your show.
So, Toby is not only a meditation coach and a published author, but also a former corporate professional who now guides CEOs, executives, and global teams towards clarity, purpose, and real presence. So, if you're ever hit the ceiling of achievement but felt empty, or wondered how to blend ambition with peace, then this conversation will feel like a reset. So, together, we'll explore how silence can shape strategy and how your internal world influences the brand you bring to the boardroom. Welcome again, Toby.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, I'm going to start with the first question that really came to my mind. I mean, you work with executives, athletes, public figures who
Hmm.
really were achieving, but deeply misaligned. How do you recognize or the first symptom that someone is out of alignment?
So there were a few things that I recognize first of all, but the biggest thing is that they've just lost how they say in French, la joie de vivre. They've just lost the joy in life. They're waking up every morning, they're not enjoying the work that they're doing, and they just feel as though something is missing in their lives. Um, and it usually means that the passion has gone in the work that they're doing. And that I find is generally the root cause of why many of us struggle, because we need to be driven by passion. And if we're just going along and just going along with our minds and just not recognizing that, that's where the problems stem from.
Mm, okay. Well, I feel that sometimes, Am I
Yeah.
out of alignment?
Well, you who knows? Who knows? You could be. I just find that we're brought up in a world where people just follow their heads all the time. We're brought up to be socially conditioned that when you've got this thing, you'll be happy. When you've got that thing, that you'll be happy.
Mm,
Usually
yes.
things like when you've got a good job, you've got a good salary, you've got the family, you've got the nice car, you've got the nice house, you've got your nice savings. When everything slots into place, when you're going to reach that place and everything's going to be right for you. And that's when you're going to find that joy and happiness. But then a lot of people get there usually around their mid-40s and they suddenly realize, hold on, well, I've got everything that I was promised, but I'm still not happy. There's something inside of me that's just not feeling fulfilled. And I think about 40% of people have a midlife career change for exactly that reason. So it's a time in our life, they say life begins at 40, that we really need to start questioning and reassessing who we are, what we are, and why we are here. And that's the most important way in which you're going to start to recognize that it's time to change. What is it that you really need to be doing at this stage in your life? Um, so yeah, and that can come along in a number of different ways. It can just be feeling depressed. It could be feeling anxious. It could be just completely losing passion for your job, just not enjoying it anymore. Or it could be the kind of family relationships or friendships just breaking down, or drinking too much alcohol, or chasing after short-term
Mm,
pleasures. Could be a number of different things.
Interesting, interesting. Actually, this resonates very well. I had a fantastic episode with previous guest. Her name is Rawan from Saudi Arabia. And I remember clearly the sentence that she mentioned. Um, I was in a room, I was doing a speech, a talk, and everybody clapped, and I got applause everywhere. However, I left the room feeling empty.
Hmm.
And that's her first sign of something is missing, right?
Yeah.
And this is
Yeah.
how the transformation started with her. So,
Yeah.
how do you help them come back to themselves?
So it's really asking the right questions to get them to start looking on the inside. Like, really getting them to figure out, okay, so you're not happy. So there are things that don't feel good for you. And really getting them to look inside and ask themselves, so what could that be? Giving them some time and space to really think and reflect. It's all about asking the right questions. And usually, if they think about it, the answers just come up from within naturally. So it's
Mm,
all about them finding the answers from within themselves. And the next thing we start to do is start to get them to imagine, well, what they know what they don't want. That's clear. That's obvious. So what do you want? So if you woke up in the morning and everything was right in your life, kind of what would that start looking like? And get them to start playing with their imagination. Everything starts with the imagination.
mm. Okay,
But ever
interesting.
since we're young, we've kind of like forgotten how to use it. We used to use it all the time when we were children. We used to
True.
play, we used to have fun, and then we get to adulthood and we completely forget. And the other thing is we're so busy all the time. When do people have time to sit down and think and play with their minds and imagine good things? We don't have the
Yes.
time, do we?
True. True. Absolutely true. Well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
Mhm.
You
So
know.
it's reconnecting with
Mm,
that kind of inner child once again.
okay. Okay. Now let's talk about you. Um, and this would be actually a great reflection to our audience and viewers who are typically professionals. They're
Mm.
stuck in their comfort trap and are trying to identify the right moment to shift if they want to shift. Now, you've made the shift. You've been in the corporate world and then you dove deep into meditation, coaching, and retreats. What was the moment you realized success without stillness wasn't enough? And how did you reimagine your life from, corporate to where you are now? How did you do this shift?
Yeah. So interesting. It didn't come overnight. I was working in a job in the city of London, and I really was waking up every day, struggling to get out of bed, catching the tube into the center of London. It was cold, it was dark, seeing all these very unhappy faces on the tube. And I was like,
Uh,
really? Is this it? Is this what my life is going to be for the next 40 or 50 years? And I really began to realize that the work I was doing was giving me absolutely no joy in life whatsoever. I just lost all passion for it. And so I started to think, okay, well, what would I really like to do? I started to question everything. And I started to think about the things that I was passionate about. So at the time, and I think a lot of this was to do with the meditation. The meditation helped me look on the inside and start reflecting on life. And one of the big things it made me think about was I'm going to be on this planet for maybe another 50, 60 years if I'm lucky. And when it comes to the end, I'm going to close my eyes, everything's going to disappear. Nothing's really going to matter. What do I really want to do in the precious time that I've got on this planet? Because it is precious. We never know when it's going to come to an end. And then I just started imagining, like, well, I could do anything really. What would I really love to do? And I was thinking, I'd love to travel. I was getting into Thai boxing at the time. I was deeply into meditation. So I started thinking, what could I do which could combine all of these three things that I'm really passionate about? And then I realized that I could do something called a TEFL course, teach English as a foreign language. I could move to Thailand, I could learn Thai boxing, and I could study meditation with the Thai monks. And I wasn't really thinking long term. It was just, Toby, this is what you want to do. This is what your heart is telling you to do. And just do it. And so one day I handed in my notice at work and with just enough money to jump on a plane. and lived for about a couple of months. I moved into Thailand and I was like, no turning back. This is it. I'm going to make this work no matter what. And I arrived in Thailand and my life overnight just shot up. Everything fell into place. Everything went right for me. I started being passionate. I started waking up every morning excited about life, excited about working. And yeah, ever since that day, which was 27 years ago, my life has just been amazing. I've woken up every day looking forward to every moment of my life. And I didn't really know what the end result was going to be,
Mm.
but the path unraveled in front of me. Things just went right just by listening to my heart. And that's the best way I can explain it because we are driven by our passion. We're driven by our heart. If we try and drive ourselves from our logical, our mind up here, and we don't think about the passion, then we're going to find ourselves in a place that we don't want to be. We are following social conditioning. But when we listen to our heart, we're connecting up with something far deeper. We're connecting with what we are supposed to do, what we are put on this planet to do. And when you're driven by a passion, every single morning you wake up excited about life.
Very nice. Very nice story. Inspiring. Inspiring. I've got one comment and one question on that
Mm.
story. The first comment, you said you have 40 to 50 years on this planet. Gosh, you're very young. I don't have that luxury.
Now that was then. That was 25 years ago.
Okay.
And not so many this year. And but that the thing is about getting older is you need to make the most of what little time you have left.
True, true. The second point, you mentioned meditation, and you're very, very fond of meditation. But, to a lot of people, meditation is, we don't know what it is. Some people
Yeah.
are skeptics. Some people think it's just passive.
Mm.
Um, but you have used meditation professionally as a performance tool,
Yeah.
and you made it
Yeah.
probably practical tool for the leaders. So how do you frame meditation for your clients who want to focus on it, not
Yeah.
fluff? How do you use it for performance?
Yeah. So meditation, the Sanskrit word is samadhi, and actually that means concentration. So what meditation is, it's developing your concentration.
Wow.
Now, imagine you as a business leader. Yeah. When we are under stress, our mind goes all over the place. Our amygdala kicks in, which is our animal fight or flight response. We become worried, and the amygdala is basically telling our brains, "Get me out of this situation." So if you're in a stressful meeting, for example, you may be looking at somebody, but you're not taking in a word that they're saying because your mind's like, "I wish this person would finish. I've got to do that. I've got to do this. I've got to do that." We all know that when we are stressed, it's very difficult to concentrate. Now, imagine if you could develop your concentration so you're completely focused on one thing at a time. Imagine when you're communicating, you are completely focused on that person without what we call the monkey mind there in the background trying to distract us all the time. Think how much better your work would be. Think how much better your relationships would be. Think how much better you could work, how much better your focus would allow you to get things done more quickly. So, this is the power behind meditation. But I think the problem is a lot of people do not understand what meditation is. Um, and unfortunately, a lot of people think meditation is, oh, I'm just going to relax. I'm going to drift off to some kind of like dreamy world. But it's not that at all. It's strengthening your prefrontal cortex, which is your logical, rational reasoning brain. And it's switching off your amygdala, which is your frightened, emotional, reactive brain.
Mm.
So when we strengthen the prefrontal cortex through meditation, we learn to think before we act. But when we are guided by our amygdala, when we don't practice the meditation or we're stressed or angry, we act before we think. And that's what causes problems within the corporate environment.
Very nice. It's a logical explanation. Very clear. I love it. Thank you for that. I'm sure the audience and viewers would
Hmm.
love that explanation. Um, because it helps them reflect also on the power of meditation, on the power of
No.
concentration, which is, when I go and speak to teams and to professionals, we always talk about the three levels of listening, right? The passive listening and the active listening and not so engaged, the wandering listening, the
Mm.
monkey, the monkey brain that you have or the monkey voice that you have, right? And you put it in a different perspective there on the active listening, which is really the concentration.
For sure.
But you always, I mean, now we've been talking about 10, 15 minutes, and you always focus on the inner side.
Hmm.
That's what I get as a message. So I want to talk about the inner brand audit, right? So everybody has his own brand and identity, and somehow they could probably go in and soul search and look at their actual brand and do an audit. Because I remember one time you talked about helping people rebuild from the within, right?
Hmm.
So what are the top 2, 3 questions professionals should ask themselves before doing any reinvention?
First thing is, why am I doing what I am doing?
Okay.
To question that and gain clarity about it and be clear about their values. What are their values? What's most important to them? And how are they incorporating that into their their work schedule and their working lifestyle? Um, Another question would be, if I woke up tomorrow morning and everything in my life was perfect, what would that be like? And the third question is, what needs to change? Because things are going to remain the same unless we're clear about exactly what it is that we need to change in our lives.
True.
And those changes may take some time. They may be small changes that you can fix quickly, or they may be changes that you need to incorporate over months or sometimes even years. But what changes do I need to make? And change actually can be from an external perspective. And what I mean by that, it might mean to learn some new things, gain some more knowledge, or what do I need to change internally? Because we need to kind of step into as people, we need to step into new roles to become new people in order to step into new roles in our business as well. So that could be being more confident. That could be stronger. That could be to imagine yourself as a different kind of person and stepping into that new role. So yeah, what needs to change within me and externally as well to get to where I want to go?
Hmm. How do people believe you as a credible person? Why?
Um,
What did you do to earn your credibility and authority?
a lot of it comes from getting people just to question themselves more than anything. Um, and I think that's where the key is coming from, not more from a coaching perspective, not from a mentoring perspective, because then people can figure out their issues for themselves. Um, and over a period of time, because I've been doing this for quite some years. I mean, I first started going to meditation when I was 30. So over the years, I've been kind of like perfecting my skills. I've introduced other things like hypnotherapy, business coaching. I train with the Institute of Zen Leadership. And really, it's kind of like the results that people are getting in a relatively short period of time. To have someone who is stressed out, anxious, feeling completely lost, and getting them into meditation and getting them within 2 or 3 weeks to suddenly find a bit of peace in their lives that maybe they haven't experienced for 5, sometimes 10 years, sometimes even longer, that speaks volumes. And I think that's where the credibility comes from. Meditation has been tried and tested for thousands of years for good reason. It's still here. It works. And again, I also incorporate a lot of Eastern philosophy, again, which has been around for thousands of years. And it's all about questioning the self. It's not about believing anything.
Mm.
It's completely the opposite. It's all about questioning. And even what everything I tell people, I say, don't believe what I'm telling you. Think, question, analyze. Think about these things yourself and draw your own conclusions. And by doing so, I think that's where they really find the answers, is finding the answers for themselves. And I think this is what makes my methods work and what gives them the good results in a short amount of time that they're looking for as well.
Mm. Sounds Interesting, very interesting answer. And, I think you definitely claim that authority and credibility space, which is great. Um, so hopefully, maybe I'll be one of your customers one day.
I'd love you to be. I'd love you to be.
Now, everybody chases visibility.
Yeah.
They post on LinkedIn, they go into this conference, they want to be visible somehow,
Hmm.
right? Because they believe visibility is credibility. Your work centers around presence rather than visibility. Can you define the difference between visibility and presence?
Um, I think visibility is more about putting yourself out there in whichever way, shape, or form feels right for your business to be in the way that you think you should be.
Yes.
Yeah. It's doesn't always come from the heart. It's like, well, I'm copying this person. This person seems to be getting that result, so I'm going to follow and do what they do. But I think the presence comes from inside and it's reflecting why you different. What really comes from the heart? What makes you authentic to yourself? And then when you are writing your posts, when I'm doing my when I'm speaking on camera, etc., it's really what is coming to my heart, what makes sense for me, and rather than following in footsteps of other people, what's different, what's
Mm,
genuine, what is it that people really want to hear that they haven't heard before? And I think that is the difference between kind of like visibility and the presence.
perfect, perfect. And how do you actually how can someone begin by cultivating? How do they, if I want to improve my real presence?
Mhm. Again, but get crystal clear on who you are and what your message is. What makes you completely unique to everybody else? What is your unique selling point? What problem are you solving that perhaps you think other people aren't solving? That as soon as you can figure that one out, then
Mm,
you're on to a winner.
mm. Interesting. Interesting. I was reflecting on our earlier discussion when we first got introduced to
Yeah.
each other. You said something that is very important, and I wanted to bring it out to the audience here and the viewers. You said our energy enters the room before we speak. And I try to think about it as, whenever I go to present something or have a meeting or whatever, and it's absolutely right. I think, the energy supersedes you before you actually start to speak.
Hmm.
But there is energy leaks that you can observe. So, what do you think the most common energy leaks that you observed? And how can a
It,
client shift from them?
yeah. It's again, it's the old monkey mind in the background. All of those fears, all of those doubts that have been implanted into us since an early age, they can start to leak in. Now, the reason that they're there is when we are young, when we're growing up. Dr. Ellie, you have children?
Yes.
Yeah. So when they're growing up, you need to have some sort of control over them. You can't just let them run around, create chaos, and do what they want and eat sweets and get their own way all the time. So we have to discipline them. We have to tell them what to do. We have to sit down, shut up, don't annoy your sister, eat, you're not that coming down from the table till you finish your dinner. All of those things. So we're telling them what to do all of the time. And there's a lot of criticism going on in there as well. Even the best parent in the world, it's like you're naughty. You mustn't do that. Don't be rude. Don't be impolite.
Mm,
And for every probably 30 comments that you tell your children, we might give them one positive comment. So we naturally grow up in life, and all of this is going into our subconscious mind. It's all being recorded. So that doubt is always there. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm doing something wrong, and it's implanted into our subconscious minds. And if we are unaware of it, if we are unconscious of it, it will start to infiltrate our minds, especially when we're feeling threatened or we're feeling fear, such as standing up on stage and talking to people. Yeah. So in order to control it, what we need to do is be present and bring ourselves into the present moment right here and right now. So I'm going to ask you to do something, and this is something that people who are watching can do. So just for a moment, take your mind into your body. Yeah. And as you take your mind into your body, focus on your body relaxing. You can focus on your face muscles relaxing, your shoulders relaxing, your arms, your abdomen. It doesn't really matter. But as you're focusing on your body relaxing now, you can still hear every single thing I'm saying, can't you? Yeah.
Yes.
So you can actually listen to me far more effectively when you're focusing on your body relaxing
I
than you
was gonna
can.
tell you that actually. I'm but actually more aware of what you're saying when I relaxed.
Exactly. Yeah. Because when you're relaxing, you're switching off the amygdala, the monkey mind, and you're firing neurons off from your frontal cortex. So this is just one technique that we can learn to do when we're feeling nervous, take ourselves into our body, relax the body. Straight away, our focus becomes much more clear and we can think and listen far more effectively than we can under normal circumstances. So this is just one of many tools that I teach people when they're going up on stage. This is something that they can do to remain calm, relax, and make sure that whatever they're saying comes out the way that they want it to say, rather than getting that monkey mind into
Yes, I
feeling
love that
going,
trick.
"Wow."
I love
Yeah,
that trick. It's can I use it in my speeches?
absolutely, absolutely, all the
I'll
time,
give you
all the
credit. I'll give you credit.
time. Thank you.
So you built an ecosystem of offering. You've got books, you've got coaching, you've got retreats.
Yeah.
Now I have professionals listening to you and listening to our discussion. And some of them are coaches, some of them leaders, some of them are actually creators. How would they design a business? Whether it's on the side, on their passion, ambition, or during their career for their own business. But that doesn't burn them out because, it's a lot of hours and brain power to put in that might distract them from other things. So how
Yeah.
how would they do that? What's your advice?
Yeah, it's all about creating time and time management. If you're in a full-time job, then you might have to reconsider um, how you're working. So one thing that happened to me many, many years ago, which is a good example of this. So I was working for Marriott Hotels, and I wanted to study a master's in holistic wellness so I could obviously upgrade my skills. So there was a couple of things that first, in order to do the MA, I needed to make more money. Yeah, in order to pay for it. So I started to talk to the manager about getting a promotion, and he said, "Yeah, okay, we can get you a promotion. We'll put you as the training manager in the resort." I was going, fantastic. But what they didn't tell me is they wanted to be the training manager and I had to do all the training in Thai. So training
Uh,
I've done for years. Now I'm good with training. My Thai language is okay. I can get by. But obviously, if you can imagine to be able to train in Thai, it's completely
yes.
different set of language. So there was me trying to study my master's degree. And all of a sudden, my 9 till 6 shift became 9 till 9 p.m. at night because I was spending time after work. I got the money, I got the money to pay for it, but I wasn't having time to study it, and I was like, "What am I gonna do?" So I had a long, good, hard think, and eventually what I decided to do is I left my job and I started up my own business. And when I started up my own business, training in hotels, it meant that I freed up a lot of my time. I only had to
Mm,
work 2 days a week. I was earning more money than I was as a training manager, and I had 3 days a week in order to set my to do my master's degree. So that's just an example of being flexible, thinking question, getting your priorities right, and thinking, okay, well, here's the obstacle. How can I make my work my way around it? There's always a way. You have to take time out, sit, think, question, analyze, and come up with a plan.
yes. Yes. And during even if you have a full-time job, if you try to put your tasks in four compartments, urgent, important, not urgent, important, not urgent, not important, you classify those, you'll
Yeah,
find that a lot of these tasks, sometimes you are at 30-40% of tasks, which are
yeah,
really not urgent, not important, means that you
yeah,
actually should, divest those, right? And
yeah,
that's a good practice to help you free up time as well.
For sure.
Start with this in your own work, and then, you know, do the things that matter, do the things that are urgent and important, that actually do a lot of impact on the business, on your company, on your job.
Yeah.
Um, and then release the other one that are not important, so you gain more um, ROI on your time invested. So
Absolutely. And the other thing is outsource. It's so
mm,
easy to outsource work these days. I mean, where many year 20 years ago, it's very, very difficult. But now you've got things like Fiverr. You got loads of different outsource websites. And the good thing is, if you're working, if you're still bringing in a salary, then you can outsource some work and get things built up on the side and get other people to do it for you. So when I
yes,
was first starting out, I didn't have I didn't have that luxury. So I had to, always find a way around it. But yeah, you can get outsource and get people to build your website up on the side. You can. I've got a virtual assistant who I employ even now because I work quite long hours myself, and getting to have a good virtual assistant is an absolute godsend because they can do so much work for you when you just don't have the time to do it yourself.
true.
If you're working, you've got the money to do that. Sometimes, if you take a leap of faith, which is also what I've done from time to time, just left my job, come up with a plan. This is what I'm going to do. You kind of have to do the work yourself because every time you're not working, you're seeing your bank balance go down and it's a little bit worrying.
Of
Or you can
course.
take on some part time work somewhere, work freelance yourself, and then build your business up inside. There's always a way to do it.
Yes, yes. So here we're going to talk about two different um, groups of listeners and viewers, right? The first group is the professional that he or she wants to grow within their company, right? And the second group is professionals who are reaching out because they are between titles, career, or change, right? To
Mm.
follow a certain path of ambition or mission. So let's start with the first group. And here we're talking visibility, we're talking branding, we're talking presence, we're talking um, that they're aiming to progress in whether it's horizontal
Mm.
or vertical within their company because they love where they are, they like the
Yeah.
career, they like the company. So I'm going to seek your advice or lessons or tips or tricks for this group. What do you think we should advise them? Two or three advice.
Ye Yeah. So it's up to them to figure out what their career path is going to be within that business. It's up to them. Yeah. It's very rare that an HR manager will say, "Oh, come in, sit yourself down. Now, what is it that you like to do? What are your plans for the future?" Because, HR managers, they're so busy, bless them, they don't have the time. So it's up to people again to look on the inside and think, okay, well, what are my skills when I look at the job that I'm doing? Because like if you've got a job title, you don't just do one job. Your job involves probably about 30 or 40 different jobs, doesn't it? You might be doing some input, you might be doing some research, it's communication, it's organization. There's so many different things. So you need to ask yourself, okay, what do I like doing and what do I not like doing? Because you might suddenly realize, actually, no, I can't stand doing the accounts. I absolutely hate Excel sheets, but I'm very good at communicating. I like the communication part of my job. Now that gives me fulfillment. I'm good at that. So then you need to start thinking, okay, well, look at my organization. How would I be most useful in that particular aspect within my organization? And how can I streamline my work into doing more of that and doing less of the Excel spreadsheets? Um, so that I think is the most important thing. Look in your company and think, where do you want to progress and how do you want to progress? Because then you're going to find joy and fulfillment in the corporation that you're actually working at. And then there's no need to leave.
Yes. And I was always telling people a company gives you a job, but you're
Mm,
in charge of your career and your growth.
for sure. I
So
absolutely agree with you 100%.
now let's talk about the group that is reaching out because they're in between titles, careers, or even confidence. How do
Mm.
we help them preserve their self worth during identity shift?
Yeah, I think it's important to realize that we are always changing. Everybody is always changing. Our bodies are constantly changing. Our thoughts are constantly changing. I mean, if you think about your body the way it looked 20 years ago, I know if I look at my body, it's certainly changed. Um, and the mind is always changing. I mean, the thoughts that were going through my mind 20 years ago are completely different to the thoughts that are going through my mind now. Our priorities in life change. Maybe it was giant. It was all about the money and the prestige and the and striving, etc. But now, as we get older, maybe it's more. I want family time. I want to spend my the
Mm,
money that I've earned, and I want to enjoy life more. Our priorities are constantly changing as well. So it's very important, first of all, to reflect on those things and be clear about, okay, so I've changed. What do I want to change into? Where do I want to see myself in 5 years' time? Again, if somebody waved a magic wand and you saw yourself in 5 years' time, everything in your life was perfect, what would that look like? And start to get really clear about that. And you know if it's right for you because you'll feel it here in your heart. Yeah. Once you're driven by your heart again, everything will start to go right for you. You'll become excited about what you want to do. The more excited you can get about this new path that you're going to take in life, everything just unravels in the way it should do. So if you come across a challenge, for example, but you're excited, you can see way past it, then that challenge, okay, I'll figure out a way how to get rid of it. But if you're not passionate about it, as soon as you come up with challenges, you're going to start doubting yourself.
yeah.
Am I making the right decision? Is this really what I want to do? But if you're driven by passion, you'll drive straight through that rock and get to where you want to go. So it all involves, again, looking on the inside, finding the passion, using your imagination, and being clear, but also being clear about everything. Like being clear, some people say to me, "Oh, Toby, well, I'd love to become a meditation teacher, but I work in the corporate world. I'm earning $200,000 a year. Sorry, yeah, $200,000 a year, $300,000 a year. How can I possibly become a meditation instructor?" Well, yeah, I know meditation instructors who earn probably about $500 a month. I also know meditation instructors who earn millions and millions of dollars every month. You've got to think, okay, this is the job that I want. This is the amount of money that I want. This is the amount of time that I want to be spending every week doing it. And you've got to take all of these things into consideration when you're making your plan. And as long as you think about it, your subconscious mind, it will figure out a way in which to do it.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. I'm going to latch on that 5 years.
Yeah.
And you know what's coming, right? So you've
Yes.
reimagined yourself many times. What
Yeah.
does your future brand look like beyond the titles and techniques 5 years from now? Can you share?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So my plan is I want something by the time I retire. So I'm 54 now. In the next 10 years, I'm going to be slowing down, as we all do as we mature, should we say. So I want to make sure that I've got everything in place that I can earn a passive income from my business. That maybe I'm only working two or 3 days a week. And also, but I want something in place that by the time I move on to the next life, that everything is set up and it's in place for the next generation to further my work and take it out into the world. I'm very, very passionate about my work. As a conscious leader, I think it's so important that we get the message out there because I see a lot of the issues and problems that the world is facing is due to unconscious leadership. If we can get conscious leaders out there and we can train conscious leaders out, especially with the next generation, I think we've got time to change the world in a very, very positive way. So that is what I want. I want my courses in place. I want the training in place. I want to train the next generation so they know how to train the next generation and pass all of
Nice.
my knowledge on to them so that they can take it out into the world themselves.
Nice. Sounds like a great plan. I'm
Lots to
ahead of
do.
you a little bit for a few years, but but gosh, you don't look very old. I mean, very old, like 50s, right?
Yeah.
I guess this is the meditation, maybe, or the
Absolutely. Honestly, when I started following my passion, I was 28 years old.
Mm.
Um, And I could honestly say that I feel like at that age I semi-retired. It honestly felt like I
Wow.
semi-retired because before I was always working hard. And what I mean by working hard was I was always working in jobs I didn't particularly like because they gave me a salary at the end of the month. And they were a drag, they were hard. That's what I mean by hard work. And then when I started following my passion, I felt like I had time to enjoy myself. And I honestly, the place I'm working at now, I'm a mental wellness coach at a resort over here in Thailand, which I love. I kind of work with them, and I turn up to work every day, and I feel like I turn up to work, I hang out with my friends all day, I go home in the evening, and I just enjoy every minute of it. I really, really do. And that's kind of been pretty much what my work has felt like for the last 27 years. And that's what I mean. Like, I feel like I'm semi retired because it doesn't feel like work. It feels like
Nice.
just hanging out, having a good time, making permanent positive changes to people's lives. And I just love it.
Nice. On that happy note, I think we're running out of time and we're gonna close. So this
Okay.
has been a great episode, Toby. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
bringing even such deep and grounded wisdom to this conversation in a world really where we're obsessed with noise and news and everything. You remind us that our most powerful brand isn't the loudest voice, it's the clearest signal that we can hear. Remove that monkey signal, right?
Sure.
To
Off.
everyone listening, if you've been feeling out of sync, disconnected from your goals, or just overwhelmed by your own ambition, today's episode is your invitation to pause, breathe, and reset, right? Because your presence, your clarity, and your energy aren't just personal wellness tools, they're strategic assets in your career, your leadership, and your legacy. So, this is not about becoming someone new. It's about becoming more of who you are really are. So, Toby, thank you very much. I really enjoyed the episode. Thank you for your authenticity and
My pleasure.
transparency and your wisdom. And for our audience and viewers, until next time, keep reimagining you and stay tuned every Thursday at 5 p.m. Dubai time for a great episode with guests like Toby. Thank you.
Thank you.